How you doing today?
Hey, I'm a little tired, but I'm okay. You know.
I definitely can relate to that tiredness, though.
Right.
But I'm gonna start off. I guess let you introduce yourself to the people who may not know who you are.
Okay. My name is Michael Brown Sr. I'm the father of Michael Brown Jr. that was killed August 9th, 2014 in Ferguson, Missouri.
Yeah. Now I've seen several of your interviews, but I never really seen anybody kind of ask about you and like your story. And I guess we'll just start with that.
Okay.
How was your life coming up in St. Louis?
Well, basically, like everyone else is just black, staying in a small community. I'm actually from Pine Line, Missouri. Those days of running into police in the counter with them, you know, was crazy, you know, like almost any part of this city. Other than that, childhood was okay, you know. Both parents in the household decided to jump off the porch and explore other things. Learn to find out that wasn't what my mission was in life. My mother told me as a kid I was going to be a preacher or a teacher. I ran from it, and look at me now.
It's funny you say that because I heard the same thing when I was a kid. You're going to be a preacher. You're going to be a preacher. My teacher always tell me that. Yeah, but something that you just said, like your interactions with police officers during that time was crazy. Do you see much of a change from then into now time?
Well, actually, back then it was basically black officers that was doing some of the things that you know, these white officers are doing now. To answer your question, no. In certain aspects, I can say communication with some. With the community, but it's just not enough. You know, if your partner is doing dirty stuff and you're not reporting it, that still doesn't make you a good cop. That makes you dirty too.
Yeah,
you know,
you're aiding it.
Yeah.
Sure. How would you describe St. Louis during that time?
As a kid,
Yeah.
Well, it was pretty fast for me. Then. People say, you know, St. Louis kind of slow, this and that. But as a kid, you know, it was pretty fast. A lot of things were much bigger.
What do you mean?
Because I was much younger and smaller. So, you know, some buildings and some houses looked a whole lot bigger. Until you get a little older, you go in the house that you were raised in, you born in. It's like, how did we make it in here? You know, but you know, it's besides that, you know. Yeah.
Gotcha. I asked that because I know, like, during that time, well, I don't know, but still, during that time, I know the transition in the city, as far as in the black community, from, I guess, with the gang culture thing. I know you made a statement about jumping off the porch. How was that impact on St. Louis?
Basically, being affiliate in different organizations at the time, with a gang called Bloods. You know, we was doing little things, and you know, get older, you find out stuff was stupid. A lot of it was. Taking care of your community was big at that time. You know, making sure elderly is getting in the house okay, or walking up the street with groceries, you're able to get, you know, help them out. Then of now, you know. Children are not doing those things. Our elderly people are actually scared of the young generation, and in our time it was different.
If you could, I guess, say something to like the younger people who's coming up now in St. Louis, who may be kind of, I guess, stepping into that realm of the city or their life, what word of advice would you give them?
Definitely, I would say try something different, do something different. You know, it's more to life than that. It's more to life than outside of St. Louis. You know, so but definitely do. If you are in a small community and you have elderly, respect them. You know, all that loud music and loud talking at night when they're trying to rest, some might have to work. You know, respect their space. You know, I can't tell people not what to do, but it's how you do it. children that or kids that are hustling, you know what I'm saying, take that somewhere else, you know, let these people be able to enjoy their life and not be scared, you know, interact with the elder, you know, and have conversations, you know, try not to come off with a bad demeanor, you know, little do they know that will be their faith at the end if they have any issues, you know, with the communication with elderly. You know, if they see police walk up on her and do some word to them, they can stand up for them instead of being scared and saying, "Yeah, get them off my block."
Right. Exactly.
You know, you definitely need support when you're out there, because some children actually doesn't have a mother or father in the household. They don't have a leader as far as that will put culture in the household, so they run to the streets to get family and learn and get some type of love.
For sure. I've been in that situation before. Even though I had my parents, I still kind of gravitated towards that. It was 1996. That's when
1996.
Mike was born. Was that your first child?
First child.
How was that? Then it's your son.
Man, seeing that brightness, seeing this guy, man, vow to protect, you know, seeing that smile, that family smile, me and my father had the same little smirk, you know, so to see that and, you know, and just know that he actually know who I am, you know, at that point. You know, it was a beautiful thing, man. I'll never forget that.
What type of kid was Mike growing up?
Curious, laughter, playful, big boy. Was always a big boy, you know. But yeah, besides that, you know, he was to himself, you know, really wasn't sociable like his daddy, you know. But if he dealt with you, you know. Yeah, overall, he was a kid just trying to find himself.
Yeah. 2014 is when he graduated?
Yes.
Yeah. How was that moment for you to see your first child graduate high school?
That was big, man. You know, I basically graduated with him. You know, I got put out my 12th grade year high school. Only needed 2 credits. Being stupid, you know, but when he graduated, that was big for me and him. You know, it was like I had the cap and gown on, and he was, you know, he was very happy. I was proud, and he basically dedicated it to me. It was crazy, you know, but sadly, you know, his life was taken. Actually, yesterday, 9 years ago. August 1st, 2014, at 11 a.m. He graduated from Lucas and Cross on a Natural Bridge by the old junior high, Normandy Junior High. So he was in a program to help him graduate, and he still needed to go to summer school. So after summer school, he didn't graduate with actually the class, but he still graduated with the same year.
Gotcha.
So that was dope. You know, he still had his year. You know, but yeah, he achieved. Yeah, he for the extra. Yeah, cause yeah. So he actually achieved it. You know, and that was from a person saying, "Daddy, I'm tired of school. I don't want to do this," to just like, you know what? All right, what I got to do. That was dope.
Yeah, my senior year was hectic too, so I can relate to him, man. I had to go to summer school. Had to go to night school, all type of just to make them up. Like graduated on time.
Yeah.
What else? One of your best memories that stand out with Mike?
Jokester, right? So, what was that? That had to be June. It had to be June, July, maybe July. I think that was July. 2014, he called us and said he had a baby on the way, right? Well, no, that was April. I'm tripping. So that was April. So that was the 1st of April, because that's April Fool's Day. So he called and said he had a baby on the way and hung the phone up. I'm like, So I'm calling, he ain't answering the phone. I'm like, this dude got me. You know what I'm saying? So he called later on, forgot I was calling because he blew, a little bit. I guess he just forgot. Called me a little later that evening, like, what's up, Pops? What you doing? This and that, and that. He's like, I'm over at Granny house. I'm like, okay. That's what's up. But what's up with what you was talking about earlier, right? He like, huh? I'm like, dude, what's up with this baby you got on the way? He like, Daddy's April Fool's Day. I was just joking with you. I'm like, man, you had me mad all day, bro. He like, really, Daddy? Come on, man. Hell, dude, I was just playing with you, man. I'm like, But he got me on that. The other siblings used to get, be driving cab crazy and be bouncing all over the walls and stuff. So we'd have him dress up, put a mask on, creep through the window and scare him because he was a big dude. We would put a mask on, he'd have a trench on. So imagine it being dark and this big, tall dude coming through. Yeah, man, it was crazy, man. Used to get him, man. So it's a lot of things. We had a balloon fight in the house, man. They used to have balloon fights all through the house. People be like, man, y'all was throwing water in your house, man? But, it would be from the kitchen onto the back deck. And we had one of these aluminum pools in the backyard, man. They was one of the tallest, they old school,
Yeah.
Man, he jumped off the deck and jumped in that water, and all that water came out that pool, man. It was hilarious, man. I'm talking about he with the deck up, with the kids up, with all the grass up. He got out the pool and stood up. I'm like, man, it ain't no water in there. He said, So, it's a lot. It's a lot of little cool stuff that still go through. You know what I'm saying? It puts a smile on my face, man. Some good memories.
Like you said, you graduated. You said August 1st.
Yes.
And then 8 days later, which is August 9th, the anniversary of his passing. How did you receive the news that day?
It's crazy. My mother had called me early and told me she had a bad feeling I need to go get Mike. Because Mike was at his other grandma's house. He wanted to go over there and kick it with them in Canfield, with his grandma, because he was, the following week, he was going to Ballarat. There you go, sow your rolls, do what you do, you have fun, you know what I'm saying? I dozed off, I had got off work early. I was helping the wife fold some clothes. The month before, we caught a house fire, so we was at her mother's house and her uncle's house, and we was folding clothes because we was there because we waited on the insurance. We had renters insurance, so we waited on renters insurance to kick in, so we go figure out something else. Helping her fold clothes, I dozed off, and his grandmother, which is Leslie's mother, had called her phone. My wife's phone was like, it's Mike there. She like, hold on for a second. I get the phone. She like, police just killed Mike. He landed in the middle of the street. I took a pause. I can remember doing that. I took a pause and I turned to her. I said, motherfucker, police just killed my son. So she like, what? So all I know is, I remember entering the car, but that car was like a roller coaster getting there, bro. I can remember my body getting slung from left to right. I can only imagine how fast she was driving, but it was just like, we need to get there, but I was in a tunnel. It's like, man, this can't be real, but it hit me instantly because my mind went somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? Like, and she wouldn't call playing with me like that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, so we get there, I step out, Leslie run past me and stop like, Mike, is this true? I'm like, I don't know. So she runs on past. And when I get around that little bend, and I see all these people, man, and I see the hat that we got married in. He was my best man. I seen the flip-flops that he bought for me and him. But, they didn't stop making those things, right? They ain't just stop making those hats. They ain't just stop making those flip flops. And then I didn't see what you guys seen because he was covered up. See, the world seen him on the ground, broad daylight, 98 plus degree weather, you know, and police standing around him. You know, I didn't see that. I didn't see nothing, no. So getting there and just seeing all the family and stuff like that, I'm like, damn. But I couldn't still receive it. But that night when his face and his name, which the name that we shared was on TV, it became real for me, you know. Yeah.
You know, as the story developed of what led to his passing, with his interaction with Darren Wilson, what are your thoughts on what was conveyed by Darren Wilson about their interaction?
Actually, he rode past. He rode past, told him to get the F off the street. Darren actually was saying, we just right here. We ain't too far from where we're going. He slowly pulled off. They continued to walk. When he put the car in reverse, it ran over my son's foot. So, of course, I know he was pissed, you know. He called him to the car. They said from there, it was a tussle. Like he was pulling Mike in the car. Mike was rocking the truck, trying to pull back. And he was able to get a shot off. So the first shot blew my son's thumb off. Boom. And he took off running. They say he sat there for a second in the truck before he opened it up. And he fired at Mike, and then he asked him to stop. And once he asked him to stop, I guess he asked him to come here. And that's when he shot him down in the street. So that's what ballistics actually is showing. How many feet was it? Almost, if I'm not mistaken, it was 20 feet away, something like that, 20 or plus feet away. So, and it's a bullet still in Canfield Green apartment. So it lets me know either there was a shot getting shot at him or while he was running away. But don't nobody want to talk about that bullet that's still in the building, because it defines if he were fleeing or if he was, you know what I'm saying? It's another conversation that they don't want to have, you know. But yeah, that's the story that was told, and that's what actually when they did the investigation, because we had a thorough investigation person come in and do what we knew they were going to try to cover up, which they still did. But we were able to get an idea of how and when and what actually took place that day.
You know, during that time, it sparked, of course, a lot of unrest in the city, and it also sparked a lot of organizations, for instance, like the Black Lives Matter. And they, within recent years and throughout the years of their, I guess, span, have received criticism about the organization. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, a lot of people don't know that Black Lives Matter was made for gay women, gay rights. A lot of people didn't know that. Excuse me. The minute that they started putting these black bodies on their website, they became known for that, and that's not what's in their mission. You know, you gotta have your purpose, your mission, and all that. When you go on in their mission, that's not part of it. Black Lives Matter was actually started through after Trayvon Martin was murdered. Sorry about that. But when Mike was murdered, they escalated, you know, and got notice through that. Yeah. So yeah, that wasn't, like I said, that wasn't their mission. But the minute they started putting pictures up, the people started following them, and nobody really dug in. Like, but what is their mission? Their mission has nothing to do with black and brown bodies laying on the ground.
Have they reached out to you at any point?
It took a minute, but I did I did a public announcement actually calling them out, and they reached out to us, and we had a conversation. We came to a certain common ground with Patrice Colors. She's not with them anymore, but I was able to speak my piece and get down to, you know, what's really going on in all these organizations to getting this money, and, you know, you haven't looked out for the family. Then find out that they thought that they were looking out for the family, but they was giving it to one side of the family.
Catch it.
So we were able to straighten that out and, you know, have a conversation. And we still at the table on other things on conversation. You know, it was just that, you know, we would have thought that they would have tried to figure out where we were on this side of the family, you know, because Mike was just born by a woman, you know,
correct,
man and woman, you know, so. Yeah.
What about like some of our black leaders like Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson? I know they kind of made their presence known during that time.
Well, you know, the protest ran Jesse Jackson out first. I don't know if you know that, but they ran him out of they ran him out. But he did try to show up. I think his message was not in the right place for the people. That's why they ran him out. But I never really asked why they ran him out, but they got him out. Oh, he was probably trying to get some money. Okay. But, yeah, Sharpton, Al Sharpton came in. He got the crowd rowdied up, you know. He made money for the family. He made a promise that he will always have the family back. And one thing I can say is he stood on that. Anything I need, make a phone call. He don't care what it is, you know. He gonna write a check, you know what I'm saying? Because he vowed to make sure the family's okay, you know. So he's kept his word. Yeah, he's kept his word.
That's good to know because, you know, a lot of them, especially the elders, when it comes to being our black leaders, get a lot of backlash. People say things like maybe that's why they kind of did it what they did with Jesse, that they only come out for personal benefits.
Yeah.
You know, just to get the spotlight of the moment.
Yeah.
But we had like a young man from the city, I guess up and coming black leader in a sense, Darren Wilson. The guy that got Darren Seal.
Darren Seal. Okay.
I'm sorry. That was kind of, you know, with the movement and protesting for Mike and you know, fighting for his justice.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, you know, he was murdered during that process.
Yeah.
Have you spoke with him personally, Darren Seals?
Yeah, me and Darren Seals is real good friends, you know. He used to call me and check in on every protest. Hey, Mike, I don't like this. What you think I should do? You know, I'm like, man, handle it how you need to handle. You know, just be kind of cool about it. But yeah, you know, I got plenty of photos with him. I rocked out with him. He definitely showed love for the family. Stood for us. He definitely stood for black people, period. And he also knew when the enemy was around, you know, and the enemy is clearly not us, you know. So, R.I.P. Darren Seals, you know, King Darren Seals, you know.
The Chosen for Change Foundation. When did you begin that?
Okay, well, in November 2014, a young black male, which was 13 years old at the time, drew a picture of Mike, a couple of pictures of Mike, and then it had Chosen for Change at the bottom. And he presented it to me. At that time, it was hard to get to me. They had security and was watching, and I was like, let that little dude through, you know. And some nice pictures, a couple of pictures of Mike on one photo, and it had Chosen for Change at the bottom. And I looked at Cal, I say, I think that's it. You know, because we was thinking about they was telling us to get a foundation ran and all that, and we know y'all too busy, we're running for you and stuff like that, which, yeah, we're going to talk about that. But, yeah, that's what we came up with that name from, because he was chosen for change, you know. If we could go back, remember that there was a lot of us getting along. You know, black people were standing side by side. You know, and fighting for what they believe in. I never took nothing from the riders. You know what I'm saying? Because you know that helped the momentum of what was going on and brought the attention to the situation. Now, what I didn't like as far as with the media, Channel 2, 4, 5, 11, 30, when they were doing it, you know, they would get on the news and say, well, look what Mike Brown's doing now. You know, I really thought that was very disrespectful. My son was in the morgue, you know. What is he doing? He's not doing nothing, you know. So for them to paint him like that because of what other people's choices was, you know, it's kind of messed up feeling, you know what I'm saying? But overall, you know, people ask me how did I feel about that. Hey, that was the voices of the dead, you know. Riders are the voices of the dead, you know. So, man.
What would you say the mission is for the foundation?
The mission is to build this community center. We've been working on this for a couple of years. We got funders. We finally found the space. We're actually going to, since Ferguson and got so much damn money off of the death of Mike, we're going to take it to the neighborhood that we grew up in, where I grew up in and where he grew up in, you know, which would be in Pine Line. It's never had anything actually for no one to do out there. Even when I was a kid, all we did was hang out. Wasn't no parks and nothing like that. So just imagine now, you know, that's the reason why, you know, people are outside. But this is what us black folks do. We hang out. We like to hang out. You know what I'm saying? We like to chill, you know, and we like to dance. You know, that's just what we do. You know what I'm saying? So whatever comes with hang out, that's what comes with hang out. Whatever comes with dancing, comes with dancing, right? But I want to give them something else to do. You know, full court, pool, some type of resources, food pantry, you know, prison reform, some type of outreach. You know, all this, man, in this one building, man, so people can have some type of faith of doing something different with themselves. You know, I want to give them something that they can be like, okay, tomorrow I need to go there. They're going to help me. You know, I know they're going to help me. You know, give them some type of faith. You know, a lot of this stuff is lost with our people, man, because we feel like don't nobody care. So I want to give them something to rely on.
Gotcha. Basically, like you said, an alternative, something else to do.
Yeah.
I seen they made the Boys and Girls Club where the cricket trip used to be at.
Yeah, I ain't even invited in there, bro. I can't even get in there.
Really?
People ask me, who am I? I say, I'm the reason why this right here.
Really? Like,
some people are very disrespectful, man. Yeah. Well, I'm the father of the person that the reason why this is here. I say that. I'm not the reason why. I'm the father.
But still. Now, I kind of breezed past this earlier in our conversation, but I'm going to go back to, I guess, August 9th.
Okay.
They released like the surveillance footage of the store encounter with the clerk, and then they released the night before also. And I'm saying that to say that because they used that to try to paint an image of his character. What are your thoughts on that?
First video, yeah, they tried, but the lawyers found that night before video some hours of just rewinding back. And they was like, oh shit, Mike was in the store the same day, same. So the thing about all that is the father didn't know what the nephews and sons were doing that night, right? Mike was owed that, but yeah, way it was done, it looked it real, but you know, he was there to get what he was owed. You know, and his interaction with this older guy, twice his size, you know, kind of made it look like bullying, theft, all that stuff that they wanted to say, but they definitely explained why he was there and what had happened, you know. I wish the night before could have came out before but the way they wanted to just picture and cover up for themselves. Mm-hmm. That's what they felt like they needed to do, but didn't know that the other video was gonna pop up.
Basically, it was just a misunderstanding.
Yeah.
From the video they tried to release to paint his character.
Yeah. But the thing about it is, there's no police report on none of that. There's no police report on Darren Wilson pulling up on Mike. The paper is blank, brother. He just happened to ride past Mike. But come to find out, this is the person Mike been having problems with every time he go out there. Wow. So it was personal.
Yeah, they been had some type of...
Yeah.
You said in November, the young man came and gave you the drawing. Mm-hmm. It was that same year, 2014?
Yes.
That was also the same month that the grand jury gave the verdict, which I guess the decision is for charging him. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, they was declined all charges against Darren. Mm-hmm. And that one thing led to another that night. Mm-hmm. But outside of that, I guess I'm asking you, what are your thoughts on just that decision that was made by the grand jury that night?
Yeah, some bullshit. I cuss on some bullshit. What the people didn't know, we been knew. There was gonna not be a conviction of him. But we were hoping that this guy that sends our people to jail forever, because of his background with his father and stuff like that, didn't do what we thought, that he would do, So wishing on something that a person already is affected by and not going to do, it was just like
prejudice mind and thoughts about it.
Yeah.
Based on their experience.
Yeah. So, that at that point, it wasn't nothing but chop and vest time. The lawyer was there with me when it was announced, and a few family members, and lawyer Anthony Gray was like, Mike, you can't go out there like that. I was like, man, I feel like it's wartime. But you like, Mike, man, you can't do that. Who's gonna be the best of even telling the story of him if you're gone? Y'all share the same name, man. But at that time, I didn't want to hear it, But if it wasn't for my wife and my mother, I probably would have, did something stupid, But it didn't go down like that, After they made the announcement, her husband said burn it down, they kind of like came in looking for me, thinking that I said it because his back was turned, but then you kind of could still see his face. But I'm kind of glad I didn't go out there, and I'm kind of glad that I didn't announce anything like that because, they came for him, side rides and stuff like that. And I'm kind of glad I didn't get mixed up in none of that, from being so emotional. There's a lot of times when we emotional, we make some bad decisions, So.
Did you find it quite strange that they made this announcement? It was 10, 11 o'clock at night?
Yeah.
Would you may think that was something that was intentionally done?
Yeah, it was intentionally done.
Why wouldn't something like that be announced? During normal court hours.
Right. See, one thing they wanted to do was tire everybody out because everybody knew that it was going to be announced that day. So they wanted to tire you out. They knew people was going to come out. So hopefully people will leave and all this, but what they didn't realize that people weren't going nowhere until the announcement was made. Two, one thing we didn't know at first was they was in the process of rebuilding Ferguson anyway. So they wanted to use the riding for that to get the funding and do all this and still bring in money after the death of Mike. So it was all a setup, And then too, they want to, if you really look at it, they wanted to try new toys out on our black people, bro. There was so much stuff out there that they were shooting, and these people ain't never shot that stuff before. The tear gas and and all that, and just being real disrespectful to our people. You know, having a chance to be real disrespectful to the people because of the announcement that was made. Like, all right, y'all can go home now. Like it's over. And people are like, this ain't over. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, just that face to face, you know, with the law enforcement and the community, man. You know, that was just, you know, that's what they asked for.
Now, I seen back in 2019, you was asking for a new investigation.
Yeah.
Are they considering doing that? Or anything, you know, came from that?
Well, Wesley Bill decided to not go further on with pressing charges after we asked him to do a thorough investigation. Actually, I'm the reason why he got in that position. And he made promises, you know. So by him not doing it, you know, I just don't deal with dude no more, man. I'm trying to I'm gonna get him out of there, you know. But the lies, you know, you do these things for these people and help them get in, and then when they get in, they become puppets. Sadly, it already be agenda already waiting on them when they get in these spots, you know. But we got to get people in there that got some balls, bro. You know.
Real. Yeah. Versus, I mean, well, like you said, they already have an agenda, but yeah. I guess it's a step forward versus with the previous prosecutor, Bob.
Right.
Yeah, like you said, with his history and everything.
Right. Because, too, we don't know, and even if he did say, you know, we just going to stick there, we don't know what Bob did with the evidence. We don't even know if Bob was even thinking, like, well, he wasn't even thinking, thought he was going to lose. You know what I'm saying? So we don't know if he even touched any of the evidence or anything, you know. So we would never know. We would never know.
Now I know it's something that you can't get over, you know, entirely at all. But how do you cope with it?
Exercise, doing community service, working on my foundation, shooting range, man, whatever it takes. You know, I'm all over the place for fun for myself. You know. I was telling the wife, you know, a lot of people don't do self-care for themselves. You know, sometimes it's past the, you know, talking to the therapist and all that. Sometimes you just gotta just jump off the bridge on something that you feel is good for yourself. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I do have a therapist. I'm working on it. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. You know, I have a family therapist too that all my children go to. So. You know, because we always talk about the parents and stuff, but we never talk about the siblings either. Mm-hmm. You know, these are the kids and stuff like that laid in the same bed, held all type of secrets. You know what I'm saying? They had their own different bond. And then when people see us and be like, oh man, it's sad that happened to that family, but we never talk about the siblings too. You know, so. You know, I just make sure, you know, everybody get the attention that they need with that. But a lot of stuff that I do, you know, I do stuff for, you know, my self-care.
Yeah, that's big that you say, like, with the therapy thing. Yeah. That's big. A lot of people kind of stay away from, I don't need no therapy.
Yeah.
You know, I said, that's white people stuff or something like that. But
right.
I got a therapist too, brother.
Yeah.
So I definitely
need somebody to talk to.
Most definitely.
That don't judge.
You know, like you said, we coming up on the 9th year of his passing. Mm-hmm. If you could say anything to Darren Wilson, what would you say?
Bring your punk ass out of hiding. I'm looking for you.
Hey, that's that.
Your punk ass out of hiding. Shit.
And you shake
what you hiding for? What you hiding for? If you say in your own interview, you know what I'm saying, you did everything by the book, why you hiding? Hey. Give me a round or two. Let me beat your ass or something. Do something, you know, I don't know. Just show your face. We'll see how it go after you do that.
Hey, you haven't been surfaced since then.
Nah. Man.
Since then.
Nah.
No trace, no nothing.
I heard little things through the grapevine. He cries. Wife done left him. The kid don't respect him. You know, he got these bullshit jobs and stuff like that. Good. It's good for you.
It's karma.
Good for you.
It's karma.
Hope every time you close your eyes, you see him.
Now, on his anniversary, you guys will be doing the Black Ball for the
Yeah.
foundation. It's the second annual
Yeah.
gala, the awards gala.
Yeah.
I guess give a little more insight on that.
Okay, so this is the second one. Last year we did protesters. We gave out awards to protest the frontliners, everyone that stood up for Mike and stuff like that. Last year we had David Banner, keynote speaker. He was here. You know, he did this thing. This year we want to do educator. You know, because you know they don't get the respect that they need. You know, some of the educators are underpaid and stuff like that. You know, so we wanna honor them. You know, we got Fred Hampton Jr. to be here for keynote speaker. You know, it starts from 6. It start at 6. It'll be over at 10. You know, let's not forget we still do the memorial of Mike early that day from 10:45 to 10 to 11:45, right? But we'll still be out there for a while, you know, probably be doing some more interviews and stuff like that. But I won't hang around so long. It becomes a lot. I don't know if you ever been out there, but you can feel his presence still out there. You know, it's real sacred out there. You know, I get really my peace out there at the cemetery. You know, out there I get a lot of mixed emotions. So I don't stay out there too long. I let the people do what they gonna do. You know, and we got to get ready for an event later on that evening. So yeah. So we'll be out there. We'll leave probably about 11:45, 12 o'clock, and get ready for the Black Wall. Yeah.
Say last question.
Mm-hmm.
You know, after Mike's passing, you know, it wasn't the last, I guess, police and a black person's interaction where the black person have some, you know, suffered and died. For instance, like with the George Floyd situation, there's just another situation. There's one of many. What would you like to see change as far as with laws, our interactions, our communications with law enforcement and the black community?
What I like to see is us as unified, bro. I like to see that. Then we won't have all these other problems. You know, people coming into our communities trying to run stuff and do things to us. The problem is these people not taking us serious. You know, if we're not loving on each other and stuff like that, what make you think they gonna care about us? You know, we gotta set some laws in place. You know, once we get unified, we get laws put in place because they like, oh shit, they not playing now. You know what I'm saying? But we definitely need to get some people in place that's not scared. You know, we got Corey Bush in place. You know what I'm saying? She part of Chosen for Change too. She hasn't been on the board like this since she's in a different, because she can't mix it. But we have her in there and she's not scared, but these people not giving her what she need because it's almost like she in there fighting by herself. You know, we got a lot of people that's upset with her and it's not the truth. You know what I'm saying? She at war with some hateful ass white people, bruh. You know what I'm saying? It's like she going to war by herself, you know, so you know, it's just we have to get people in positions, man, to help the ones that we already got in there that's trying to make change, trying to do different things, you know, so we can build a real legacy for black folks and brown folks, bruh, like it need to be done.
Sure, for sure. Now, I seen you speaking to Corey. I seen she invited you out for the State of Union.
Yeah. Did
you make it?
Yeah, I was there.
How was it?
It was different. It was dope. There was a lot of fake, you know, shit going on. You know, it's a lot of places that you go, you know, where they ain't fake. You know what I'm saying? But she did her thing. You know, I just hate that that one family that was invited, Tyrese Nichols. You know, R.I.P. to him. But his family was there, and this is crazy. This is what they do. You know, they bring the families in. They pull you around and make you promises, and you know, and it be a bunch of bullshit, you know. And I feel for, you know what I'm saying, even though the president, you know, Obama quoted like 15 lines that I said. If you go back and read, Mike Brown said this, the father of Mike Brown said this, you know. But they do these things, you know, and we expect more because we're hurting. And when they don't do it, you know, but when you get in tune on what they actually able to do, You know, they're not giving us nothing. You know, we not able to do what we need to do because it's already a hidden agenda when you get in there. You know, so you know, but them, you know, lying to these families, man. You know, I don't think it's cool, man. But you know, it was all right though. I was just around some stuff I don't want to be a part of.
Gotcha.
I don't want to be a part of that shit.
Well, yes, that concludes our conversation. I appreciate your time for coming out, brother.
Appreciate you giving me a chance to just say what I want to say. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
I say appreciate you coming out, telling your story, and just sharing your side of things. Until next time, man. Continue to push for greatness, man.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah.
All right.